In this section, we're going to go over the other new VST synthesizer that comes with Cubase 6.5, which is the Padshop granular synthesizer. Now, this is a very trippy new type of synthesizer, so it's going to be really cool to take you through it. And I'm going to do exactly what I did with Retrolog. I'm going to right-click in my track column, choose Add Instrument Track, and if my browser is open, then I can choose the Padshop synthesizer over here in the instrument column, and then you can see that there are 406 different patches for Padshop, and I could audition these the same way that I did with Retrolog. So if you want to see how that works, you can review that video. It's in the Retrolog section. Or what I'm going to do is just close the browser, go to the instrument setting, choose the synth category, and choose the Padshop synthesizer, and then click Add Track. And then I'm going to make sure that the Padshop track is record enabled so that I can hear and audition the sounds inside of Padshop when I play my MIDI keyboard. And then I'm going to hit the Edit Instrument button right here, and that will open the Padshop control panel. And just like with Retrolog, we're not going to be able to see all of the settings on the screen. I'm going to zoom out here a little bit just so you can see that the bottom part of the control panel will go off of our video screen just because of the constraints of the size of the video. But Padshop has the same option settings button and the manual button, which is the question mark, which you can use to open the owner's manual for Padshop, because it, just like Retrolog's owner's manual, is separate from the Cubase 6.5 manual. So now I'm going to zoom back in so that we can take a look at the Padshop control panel. Now, a granular synthesizer is very different from some of the sampler plugins that you may have used in the past. A sampler plays a waveform from beginning to end. It might repeat a section of that waveform to create a loop, but a granular synthesizer does something very unique. It plays individual small sections or slices of a waveform at different locations within the waveform and over again in a loop. Very, very cool. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make our very own. And so I'm going to click the preset button and I'm going to call up the init patch for Padshop. This doesn't have anything to do with any other synthesizer in Cubase that has an init patch, just like Retrolog did. This is the initial patch for Padshop. So I'm going to double-click init, and what we're going to do is listen to this basic waveform in the waveform display. And we're going to pay close attention to the very beginning of the waveform. So while I focus on that part of the screen, I'm just going to play middle C. Do you see that little white area show up in the waveform when I play? That's because all we're hearing from this particular wave sample that is loaded into Padshop, we're just hearing that first little tiny bit. So what I'm going to do is adjust the duration so that you can get a better idea of what's happening with that sound. So here's C3 again. Now what's happening here is that instead of starting from beginning to end, we're getting little slices of this sound. Let's look at that again. See how there's little lines all over that waveform? Well, that's basically how a granular synthesizer works. You take a waveform, and the granular synthesizer slices up that waveform and plays it back in little sections. So now that we know a little bit about how Padshop creates its sounds, let's listen to some of the presets in the next video.